Good morning. What you see here, I hope, as my little hands provide the reference, is a Magnum, a really big bottle of really bitchin' wine. This was very, very hard for us to get. I want to tell you all about it in a few minutes, but in the meantime, I need some inspiration for this video. Yet another weekly video. The Wine Steward is very pleased to present to you their info in all kinds of ways. We write in an email every week, and those who receive our emails get to hear what's coming up. We have a lot of stuff coming up. We have a lot of things to tell you, so I'm going to go write that email in a minute. Video first, email next. And of course, walk into our store and you will engage with a wine steward. Maybe me, maybe Sharon, maybe Don, maybe Grace, maybe Eric. Who knows? Could be Owen. At any rate, we have fantastic people down there, and I'm a relatively fantastic person who often hides in his office, but we'll go downstairs if you'd like to speak to me, or you might catch me down there. At any rate, point is, we talk to you in so many ways. We want to engage with you. We show you wine. We show you our products. We don't want you to have to just walk in and guess. We want to be your stewards. We are wine stewards, and we are customer stewards, you could say. This. Ooh. Wow. Got to hold off from sipping it for a few minutes, but pretty hard too. Wine Steward news of the week. Let's tell you first why these two items are up here. This is a bottle of rosé. That's pretty obvious, but oh, what the hell is that? This is something I actually got in my stocking for Christmas, and I was ecstatic to, upon that gifting, realize that these actually make it to the United States. I didn't know. I first had Piparra Peppers in the Basque region of northern Spain. Gosh, in I believe 2018 is when I was introduced to these via the absolute best tuna sandwich I had ever had. Of course, the tuna was fantastic in quality because we were right there on the Bay of Biscay and some product was local. But what really made this tuna sandwich was these Piparra peppers, often called guindia. You can use either name, but Piparra is what we're going to see here on the label, I think. Piparra peppers from the northern part of Spain, Basque country. These are Basque peppers that I will attempt to grow myself someday. And in the meantime, I'll be buying jars and jars of this and applying them to my tuna sandwich or just eating them straight because they're semi-mild. They're not all that hot. They're very easy. They're pickled, obviously. Long, skinny guys. They are really good. Piparra peppers. This is really good rosé that would go fantastically with that tuna sandwich. But these two particular items are on a new category of our website that tells you how to do this. Basically, you can go to thewinesteward.com now and prepare for your next concert in the park experience. Yes, the Wine Steward is your concert in the park headquarters, apparently. As of this morning, we have loaded lots of food items, lots of really nice wine, and a few accessories as well, like picnic baskets and things like that, onto our website, thewinesteward.com. So as you prepare to go to the next concert in the park, and thank goodness they're finally back. It's every Friday night, except I think for the weekends when the street is closed, they might be omitting that particular Friday. Concerts in the park, cool stuff. What do you want to be at that concert? Well, you want to be seen, right? I mean, people go there, yeah, to listen to some cool music, but to be seen by their neighbors, to say hi. Hey, look at you. Hey, good to see you. Hi, you. You can't remember their name, but hi, you. And you're the coolest people there because you have Piparra peppers and you've got a rosé called La Fouquette. Why don't you just say, Fouquette, let's go to concerts in the park. It's fun to say and it's appropriate. It's not inappropriate. Fouquette, let's go to concerts in the park. You'll be talking to your bottle of wine. You'll be bringing this bottle, a beautiful rosé, just got here, 2021 Fouquette Rosé, a longtime favorite of the Wine Steward, is in fact here now. This is gorgeous. It is on the website in that category, Concerts in the Park headquarters, where you go and you create an order and you can pick it up if you have that order submitted by 1 p.m. on Friday. It will be ready for you to grab by 3 p.m. on Friday. Pretty cool. Then you just head over to the park, listen to some good music, and you look very, very cool. You look cool because you've got dry rosé from Provence, France, one of the best ever made. You have Piparra Peppers. I know, we have totally beaten those products to death. But you might want to take a red, right? Maybe it's a cooler night. How about baby blue? This will make everybody happy. This we chose for that category on the website because it is friendly and everybody will freaking like it. What else does everybody like? Everybody likes Chateauneuf du Pape, right? Domaine de la Charbonnière, Chateauneuf du Pape, 2019. It is gorgeous. And don't you want to be those people on that blanket that are seen with a bottle of Chateauneuf du Pape? I mean, everybody else is going to be so freaking jealous of you. You want to be seen with Fouquet and Chateauneuf du Pape and Baby Blue. And, you know, if you want to save a little money, that's a damn good can of white wine right there. That is 1/3 of a bottle of wine in my hot little hand right there. Boom. Easy to open, easy to drink. Potato chips, of course, we are your local source for Torres truffle chips from Barcelona, España. At any rate, we are ready for you. Concerts in the Park. Now, I have 0 props. I don't really have anything to indicate to you what our next subject is. I need a prop. I don't have a prop. Let's just say, our friend Gregoire, who sounds French, sounds like he's French, and he is in fact French. Greg and Paul came and did an event with us a couple of months ago. They are both importers, non-competitive importers. They're friends, but they each have French wine portfolios. They both go over to France, from which they come originally. They both live in the East Bay now, but each one is an importer. So we had these non-competing importers together one night to do a French wine event. Then a little later, we had Paul all by himself to show you 12 more wines in an evening. Now, for the first 24 to RSVP, next Wednesday, I know I'm not giving you much time, we are having Gregoire up here, all by his lonesome, to pour probably 11 or 12 wines that he has found. The cool thing about these wines, 2 cool things, they are summer-oriented. In other words, a lot of whites, a couple of sparklings, and some reds that will go beautifully with barbecue. So I think we chose these with summertime in mind. And the other cool thing, they're all, well, with one exception perhaps, under $30. So they're like $20 to $30 bottles of French wine. I think you'll want to buy a case and enjoy these all summer long for their refreshment, for their value, and so on. And you're going to hear all about them from the heavily French accented Gregoire that evening. So it's next Wednesday night. That is now shown on the website. TheWineStore.com is how you buy your seat. Go there now, order a seat or 2 or 4, depending on how many people are coming. And then you could also order a cheese and meat platter that is specially designed by Dawn, who she and I have been conferring on, like, what should we do for this French wine event? Like, should we do rillettes? And should we do a little moutarde, that's mustard, maybe some cornichon, and some fantastic French cheese, and a little charcuterie, and so on. Sounds good. At any rate, it's going to be a good event next Wednesday night. All right, Gregoire. Now, let's get to what we're doing on the Wine Steward's Wine Bar menu, which is now printed. Look at this. Pretty cool, huh? It's all done. I got here early. I'm back to my original form of getting here early to get this done. So the menu is done. It is ready for you. Ready and waiting. New graphics on the back. We have fantastic food to eat. Brie Savarin cheese, and burrata is back. You guys, burrata, fresh burrata from Puglia, Italy. Yeah, they have to fly it over to keep it fresh, but it is here. It is good. At any rate, come and eat and sip. What you can sip on first, if you'd like, is a glass of real champagne. This is pretty cool stuff that nobody else around here has, called Comte d'Aquarion, and it is a Brut from Champagne, France. I've gotten to visit this producer a couple of times, and I can vouch for their quality. But why should I have to vouch? You can drink a glass and tell me how good it is. It's kind of on the brighter, more pristine, refreshing side of the champagne stylistic spectrum. All right, that's our Brut, our sparkling wine of the week. Sometimes it's champagne, sometimes Prosecco, sometimes Cava. This week, it's the real stuff. Stuff spelled with an E on the end. Now, we normally do a white flight, right? No white flight, sorry. We have a white. It's gorgeous Chardonnay from Laird. you can order a glass of this Chardonnay. It's fantastic. Is that the Chardonnay? That's their Pinot. Well, I mean, come on, you don't really get to see all these bottles anyway, do you? I'm just like, this is part of the routine. Well, crap, I forgot. I didn't bring the Chardonnay. At any rate, Chardonnay is a glass that you can order this week. And we're saying, what? No white flight? That is because finally those French boatfuls of rosé are getting here. 2021 rosés are getting here. We buy, I think, maybe 40 rosés every year. Some from California, and some from Oregon, some from Europe, of course, all over the place, Greece and so on. Well, that's part of Europe. At any rate, we buy 1/3 of those probably from one particular importer named Jeff Welburn. Jeff Welburn, I think he thinks he taught the French how to make rosé, and let's just say he is finding really good rosé from France, but from elsewhere. We're going to pour 4 different rosés that Jeff Welburn found. These are all 2021s, brand new, fresh off the boat, and yet each comes from a different place. So this one comes from Corsica. Well, yes, that belongs to France, but it is quite distant from France itself. It's an island in the Mediterranean, Corsica, birthplace of Napoleon. And this is going to use Chacarello and Nieluccio. Easy for you to say. Those are 2, you could say they're indigenous grapes. It is thought that Nieluccio might be Sangiovese, but frankly, when you have a grape of a certain kind, like Zinfandel, landing in, let's say, Puglia, Italy, and hanging out there for 100 or so years, it kind of becomes its own thing. It develops its own personality, its own accent, you could say. And so even if Nieluccio is, in fact, Sangiovese, it really is its own thing, having sat around, grown around on the island of Corsica for so long. So this is 50-50 each, 50% each of those 2 grapes, which are abbreviated on here mercifully. All we have to say is Shaka Nieluch, and sounds so cool, right? That's Corsica. That's our first rosé of the week. Why don't we just leave that up here? Let's see, a lot of pink. Here is Anna's Secret. So this is from Maremma, Tuscany. So yeah, we're going to jump around a lot. This is 100%. What do you think? It's from Tuscany. What do you think? Yep, Sangiovese. This is Sangiovese. We're not going to call it Nieluccio. It is Sangiovese from Maremma, Tuscany. It has a totally different effect on the palate. And that's what we want. We want all these rosés, even if they have this, even if they're common in having a pale pink color, we want difference. We're wine lovers. We want difference, right? So let's do something different again. Let's go to Austria. The most prevalent red grape of Austria. I know we've all heard about the prevalent white grape of Austria called Grüner Veltliner. Well, this is Zweigelt. Fun to say. Zweigelt with a Z. This is going to be 100% Zweigelt from the producer Müller. And it has, I gotta try this one. This is fun. It is different from Provence Rosé. So this is where Jeff kind of goes stylistically away from much of what he brings over. The importer extraordinaire of rosé, I guess he brings over like 15 different rosés every year. I mean, he's a specialist. That is one of his main things. Not the only thing we're going to tell you about, and something else that he brings over in a minute. Oh my, that's lovely. This is pretty. This is more perfumey, little girl perfume kind of a thing. I had sisters. I still do. But they don't wear a little girl perfume anymore. But this wine does. Lovely. Zweigelt from Austria. Kind of like bubblicious bubblegum. Remember that stuff? All right. The final rosé of the rosé flight. The all pink flight is our old friend. It's back. This is Saint-Roch-les-Vignes from Provence. We thought it would be most appropriate to finish with Provence, which is probably what you anticipate the most. If it's not from Provence, you anticipate a Provence-style rosé, even if it's made in California. Provence-style, I would say, what does that mean? It means it's more delicate in color. If we cover up that orange label, you can see how light in color, almost like coral, salmon, copper kind of a color. It's going to be half and half Senso and Grenache going on here. And it's one of our favorites absolutely every year. I think we have carried this particular rosé for 16 vintages straight, something like that. I think it's gone up all of like $2 over all those years, so not too bad, right? Given inflation and such. Very pale in its delivery. Very evasive, very barely there, like that Speedo I always wear when I go to France. Don't worry, I'm not wearing it right now. I'm not wearing anything right now. No. Well, I have a shirt on. Okay, so that's it for the dry rosés. I told you about that Chardonnay that we're doing by the glass. Now, let's get this glass to work. Actually, it already is working. And say that we're going to do yet another one of those flights that uses exclusively this particular glass shape. This is called the New World Pinot Noir glass. That's what we call it. It's the big fat glass, you know. It's beautiful for aromatic red varieties and white Burgundy too. But we are going to pour 5 different reds into this glass. Not all at the same time, otherwise that wouldn't be fun. We want difference, right? What's that difference? First, let's have a wine that Kermit Lynch imports. Yes, the man himself brings this wine over, made by two brothers, Frederic and Daniel Brunier, better known as the winemakers for Vieux Telegraph, Châteauneuf-du-Pape. This is a second or third, or frankly, well, it's about 5 wines down the ladder of quality for Vieux Telegraph. And it's made in Vaucluse, which is kind of a satellite of the Rhone, southern Rhone Valley. And it uses, let me see, Grenache, Syrah, Carignan, Cinsault, and a little bit of Mourvedre. And it's called Les Pigeolets, imported by Kermit Lynch. That's where we're going to start in this flight of wines that I feel do very, very well in this glass. A nice, spicy, musky, dusky. It's got fruit, raspberry, and wispy cherry qualities too, but there's white pepper and lavender and all kinds of beautiful things happening in that. This is wine number 3, so I'm not pretending to have this right now. I had this at, I think, 6 a.m., so I'm good. I got this down in here. It's the first wine on the red wine flight that uses the big-ass glass here. Wine number two is going to be, of course, this is a Pinot Noir glass. Why don't we do Pinot? This is the bottle I misrepresented a few minutes ago, and this is from Laird. Laird is a really, really good winery up in the Napa Valley who plays host to no fewer than over 60 other wineries. In other words, under their roof, now they have 2 different facilities. So under their roofs, I guess you would say, roofs, they have 60 other wineries that make their wine under their bond, and they just come in handy. This is what is called a custom crush facility. But the whole concept of custom crush kind of began here, at least per our reckoning of the concept, where small producers who don't really have the financial wherewithal or the interest in having their own wineries and tasting rooms will just use another facility, use, the crusher and the press and the overhead of somebody else and pay rent and make their wines there. Well, Laird provides that service, and they make their own wine, very good wine. This is a Carneros Pinot Noir by Laird. We just brought it aboard. Carneros, for me, means it's going to be brighter, have kind of a cranberry quality instead of maybe cherry. You know, it's a little more pert than cherry, so a little more nervy. Raspberry and cranberry happen, along with perhaps the brininess of the nearby bay. This is very close to the northern part of San Francisco Bay here. And the tide goes in and out every day, and you've got really interesting smells coming off the bay. I think they get into this wine. A little bit of the brine is happening here too. Beautiful stuff. That is wine number 2 on our flight of wines that go very well in this glass. Number 3 is what we started this video with. I was pouring out of this. This was really hard for us to get. This is a magnum of really good Cru Beaujolais. Cru means that it came from one of the 10 best places within the region of Beaujolais. Beaujolais is south of Burgundy. We used to call it Burgundy, and now we think Beaujolais deserves to be called its own thing, and I think Burgundy feels the same way about Beaujolais because they grow a different grape. They grow Gamay down here, and it grows in not so much limestone, but more granite. This is very old vines, over 75 years old, Gamay vines growing in granite in a little commune or cru called Moulin au Vent, which means windmill. There's a 300-year-old windmill, fully restored, still operating here in this little area. So great, we are big fans of this wine. We've made a lot of you fans of this wine. What you never get to see, or at least only rarely see, is magnums of this stuff. Daniel Madero, our Kermit Lynch wine rep, told me once that he felt that Beaujolais in Magnum is a great thing to preserve. Like if you hang on to this for like 10 years, it becomes something different in a very, very good way. I think it's wonderful right now, 100% Gamay, but in large format, in larger quantity, wine ages more slowly and develops into something really beautiful over time if you have a good place to store a big bottle like this. So I only brought in 6, there are 6 more waiting at the Importer's Warehouse. Jeff Welburn, that guy who brought in all the rosés that we were talking about, he kindly, very, very personally made a request to one of the wineries from whom he buys this and said, I've got one client in California who wholeheartedly believes in Magnum format for Beaujolais. Can you get him? Can you score him a little? And Jeff Welburn kindly arranged for a couple cases, just 2 6-packs of these Magnums to get onto his next container for us. And it's pretty cool. I think we're probably the only ones in the United States to actually have this wine in Magnum. Oh, it's beautiful. It's great in this glass. It'll be great in this glass for, I promise, 10 years if you preserve it well. Get your hands on one of these. Like I said, we have 6 right now. Of course, one's open, but there are 6 more waiting in the warehouse. And we brought in Magnums also of a Juliana. That's another Cru Beaujolais. So same importer. So we have 2 different Beaujolais in Magnum form. I know, we're crazy. Come try this, it's really good. And then wine number 4 on the red wine flight. The flight that does well in that glass is, well, of course, you gotta have a Barolo. This is Barolo from Piemonte, Italy. Barolo is the location right next to Barbaresco, and those 2 places are the king and the queen, respectively, so they say, of Nebbiolo. Nebbiolo is the grape. Made here as it can be made nowhere else in the world. People attempt it, but Nebbiolo just somehow, mysteriously, doesn't work as well as it does in Piemonte, Italy, particularly in Barbaresco and here, Barolo. Now, I am going to say au revoir to that gorgeous Moulin Avant and get in on this because I want you to see the color. Basically, what's remarkable is how little color there is. Look at this. See that? That is typical for Barolo. It just doesn't confer the grape a lot of color onto its wine. But what you get in the nose, for those who smell their wine, especially out of a glass like this, is this beautiful sense of potpourri. Potpourri, you know, dried flowers, maybe some dried foliage of some kind as well, and definitely some dried citrus peel and tannins in the mouth. That's what we want from Barolo. That's because we are eating with this, aren't we? I mean, you'd better be ordering a cheese and meat platter to go with this guy. Beautiful texture. This is Barolo that, even though it's tannic, all you need is some food. This is more well-behaved in its youth than many Barolos are. Caggiala is the name, and it's good. It's very good, actually, and it's a hell of a price. Most Barolo is like $55 and up. This costs a bit less for you. It's a good find. We want to put it on the bar because it belongs in this glass. I have one more wine to put into that glass, especially because I want you to see the color of wine number 5. This is from a producer, well, it's a husband and wife team. This is Alexandra, that's a woman's name, and Vincent, or Vincent if you want, Cluzel, and that's a fruit fly, dead fruit fly. It is going to be from the region of Saint-Joseph, which is a sub-region in the northern Rhone Valley of France. I know we did southern Rhone to start this, but now we are finishing with what? That colorful wine. What do they grow here? The red grape of this region, the red grape of the northern Rhone is Syrah. And Syrah does beautifully in this big fat ass glass right here. That's pretty freaking gorgeous. A nice dark way to finish the flight and send you running for your toothbrush. I'm not even going to show you my pearly purples right now. At any rate, come see us at the Wine Steward. This menu is ready to go. You can start as early as you'd like. And think about that Concerts in the Park thing. Also think about Gregoire, who's coming next Wednesday night for 24 French wine lovers who don't want to overspend this time around. In other words, all the wines that we'll be showing, or nearly all, we have a Geoffroy Chambertin that'll be kick-ass, and those are never cheap. But everything else, I believe, 30 bucks and less, and delicious, and very much chosen for summertime sipping and barbecues and such. Hope to see you soon, one way or the other. Thank you for everything you do with the Wine Steward. Happy birthday, Elaine, our now 33-year-old. Can't believe I'm saying that. Anyway, life is good. Have a good one.